Everyone. My name is Sachin. I'm the Business Development Manager of Student Connect. And thank you so much, everyone, for waiting. I know we are 7 to 8 minutes late, so do apologize for that. So, here with us today is the Senior International Recruitment Officer, Mr. Paul Adai Boytan from Liverpool Hope University.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you very much for your time. Again, apologies for the few minutes delay. We're sorting out our technical issues, but I think thankfully we are here and pleasure meeting you. My name is Paul from Liverpool Hope University, as already have been mentioned. And today I'm here just to give more information regarding our university, the courses that we do provide, information about fees, scholarships, and anything that you need to know. I do have some slides that I would want us to go through quickly. I believe it would provide a lot of information and answers to some of the questions that you may already have. So I would go through them, but then if you do have any questions as I go through, just put it down. At the end of the day, I believe we would have a Q&A session where you
Yes,
can
yeah.
raise it, and I'm happy to respond directly. So just give me a second as I put up my slides. If there can be some reaction. So I see if you can see my slide. So
Yes,
are you
we
able
can
to
see our
see?
we can see the slide. Yeah.
Amazing. Good. So essentially, we're looking at September 2026 intake. And so I'm happy to at least provide essential information that you will need from West Africa if you are looking to study with us in Liverpool. So today we look at the location, where exactly we are. We also want to touch on why people consider Liverpool Hope University, courses, tuition fees, scholarships, and entry requirements, employability and student life, because returns on investment is a big issue now, how you are able to apply, essential dates and deadlines that you need to be aware of, payment and cash information, as well as any contacts that will be useful for you. I believe as I move through the slides, you are able to see them, because sometimes for technical issues, at times they don't move. I'm on the third slide. From your end, is my slide moving?
Yes, I think slides are changing as well. Yeah.
Okay, amazing, good. So in terms of location, Liverpool Hope University is in the city of Liverpool, as the name would suggest, which is in the northwest of England. We've provided the map of the UK here just to help you in terms of this sort of information. Now, some people may think that, oh, because the city name is allocated, everyone may know, but it will surprise you sometimes. Not everybody knows exactly where the institutions are. And so we provide this, particularly now with UKVI interviews and wanting to really know that students have done their own research and know where they are going. That is why we do provide this sort of information. So we are in the northwest of England, in the city of Liverpool, only 45 minutes by train to Manchester, 1 hour 45 minutes to Birmingham, and just a little over 2 hours to London. So if you look in the map, you can see that the university or the city is really centrally located. So it's easy to connect to other major parts in the UK. So it's easier because sometimes you see people may have family or friends that they may want to visit in these other locations. So we show this so you know how easy it is to connect to these other places. And sometimes people may be asking, aside studying, what else can you do? So in terms of the city itself, as you know, football is a big thing within the UK and in Liverpool. So on the left top right, we do have two teams in the city, Liverpool FC as well as Everton FC, for those of you who follow or know football. And it's a big thing within the city of Liverpool. Down on the left bottom, we have the River Mersey, and we do have boats that go across the river for tourists or sightseeing. Mostly students and other people also use it much of the time. And then on the right hand side, you do have the Statue of the Beatles, and that tells you of the music and arts part of the city, which also is quite exciting. So we just want to add this for students and people to know that, yes, we want you to come to Liverpool Hope to study, but then the city is very vibrant, multicultural, and has other things that adds up to your study life, in addition to you taking your program of study. So why Liverpool Hope University? I will touch on a few points on this slide and we move on. Um, if you look at us as an institution, we are dated back to 1844. There were three teacher training institutions in the city of Liverpool that were being run by the Roman Catholic and the Anglican churches. And then in 1844, they decided to come together to form one institution, which today is known as Liverpool Hope University. So our history dates back to all these years, and that shows you how the institution have gone through this period of quality and improvement right down from there to this age. In terms of size, we are roughly middle or small rank university in terms of our size. So at the moment, we have a total student population of 5,500 students. Now, what that means is that because it's a smaller institution, we are able to really provide a lot of support and to students. So we have decided as an institution, and just to add up, we are a public university within the city of Liverpool or in the UK. So sometimes people ask me whether the university is private or public. We are a government university in the UK. And I was touching on the size that we've decided to keep it at that size so that especially for international students like yourselves moving to the UK, sometime for some of you for the first time going overseas, weather will be different, academic system will be different, the culture will be different, and even how you study, it's not the same from what you may already be used to in your country. So we want to keep it small so then we can give a lot more support, especially when you arrive. Because sometimes we realize that when people arrive for courses, and sometimes with all these changes, it takes them time to adjust. And when you are in a massive university, sometimes you can get lost within those periods. And so for any student, for instance, who need any support, most of the time they don't even need to book any appointment. You just walk into any office, international office, admissions, recruitment, and there will always be someone there to support you. And so that is why at the moment we are ranked fifth in the UK for student satisfaction. Our campuses are very beautiful, and I'll show you some images for you to see. And then also finally, we do touch on a bit on employability, making sure that whatever you study with us at the end of the day prepares you for the job market that you're looking for. But I'll add a bit more info as we move along. So we do have three campuses across the city of Liverpool. So within the city, we have three main locations that we run or we have our facilities in. So the first main campus is called the Hope Park campus. And for many of you, if you are not studying art and design program, it's likely that you will be on this campus. So mostly you'll find the main student accommodation in this campus, the main library, faculties, schools, including health and social care, business school, as well as also our sports center. So most of you would spend much time here. Even if you are on the other campus, there are many occasions or activities that would bring you to this main campus. And these are some of the images of this campus, just to at least start giving you an idea of where you are getting to and what sort of facilities you will be having. So as you could see, there are some social spaces, a sports center, lecture theaters, the gym as well, and some of our buildings on around our campus. And we have a campus university. So as you know, for instance, from your region, I know when you talk about a university, you are thinking of a mini city sort of an area where you have all your buildings, accommodation, lecture theaters, student centers, gym, sports center, all within one sort of mini area. And that is the sort of campus that we have compared to some other UK universities, which may be spread over maybe across the city center. So we do have all these facilities in one campus, which you will be there once you are with us as a Liverpool Hope University student. Our second campus is called the Creative Campus. And as I mentioned, mostly we do run art and design and programs there. That is right at the city center in Liverpool. So the first campus is about 20 minutes away from the city center. The Creative Campus is right at the heart of the city center. So mainly, again, for art and design, foundation, bachelor's, master's programs. Most of their courses take place on this campus. And here are some images again to show you the facilities that we do have. So some social and outdoor spaces, lecture theaters, computer room, and some art studio also that students use once they display their work that they are doing. Our third and final campus is our student village called Egbert Park. So on this campus, we don't do any teaching, but it's purely a residential campus. So that is where most of our international and postgraduate students live. Today, I'm hoping to have two of our students being with me on this session who live on this campus. So mostly maybe if we get to the end and you have any questions and they are around, I'll get them to speak to it. But it's a very beautiful accommodation, very affordable. I'll come to that later. And then also, it's just about 10 minutes away from most of the vibrant parks and areas within the city. And also, again, these are some images of that campus. So you see the standard student bedroom. Usually it's quite small compared to what you may be used to in your country, but that's ideally, we know that you're coming here for study. So we want to keep it as much more as possible so you can concentrate. So that is the study room or the student room typical size, the kitchen area, and then social spaces that are available, some of them within this accommodation facility. This map does show you how the locations are connected. And we want to show that so then, because sometimes people may know certain parts of the city and maybe want to find out how easy is it to get to the other side. So the number one on the screen there shows our main campus, which is the Hope Park in the suburb or the area called Chilwell within the city of Liverpool. Number two is the Creative Campus, which is next to the city center, as I mentioned. And then the third one is the Egbert Campus. And why we've connected them is that we do have a campus bus that runs through these three locations every hour during term time. And students from Liverpool Hope University use the bus for free. And so you can easily connect from your accommodation to the main campus and even get to the city center by using the university bus system. And we've shown other locations within the city as well, so you know how close it is to the various locations that you will be as a student once you are with us. So in terms of programs, we are structured into 4 faculties. So as you can see, this gives you the rough idea of what courses we do run, which you can apply to study with us. So we have 4 faculties and 9 schools under these faculties. So business, law, and criminology, under which we have business and law, or business law criminology, or business school, and then the law and criminology school. Then we do have creative arts and humanities, again split into creative arts or creative and performing arts and humanities. We do have education and social sciences, and then the final faculty is human and digital sciences, where we have health and sports sciences, computer science and environment, as well as psychology. And so the next slide, what we do is, for instance, for undergraduate courses, I'll just move this slightly. We've just shown all the courses that we do have available. So these are the specific degree programs that you can do if you are looking at undergraduate programs. So right from accounting and finance to artificial intelligence to geography, law, journalism, all the way to tourism management. These are the degree programs that we do have: robotics, social care, software engineering. The good thing is that when it comes to undergraduate courses, we do have some sort of combined honors degrees. So let's say if you're not quite certain of the single degree that you want to study, but you want to explore two separate subjects and even move on to graduate with it, we can give you those opportunity if that is available. So for instance, you see students doing business management and economics, or maybe law and education, or maybe mathematics and robotics. So some of these combinations are available if you might want to explore multiple or two subjects just to help with your future career. So similarly with masters, we do have these sort of master's programs. Again, advanced computer science, courses in data science, disability studies, education, health and social care. I believe once you contact Student Connect, they'll be able to share all these details with you if you are not able to get all of them as we go through this presentation. But definitely, these are the main master's programs that we run, which are all open for September 2026 intake. In terms of finances, this is how much we charge for our programs. So for all our foundation and undergraduate courses, tuition fee per year at the moment is £15,225. So that is how much we charge per year for our bachelor's programs. For masters, you're looking at 16,500 to 17,500 pounds. So that is the range for every master's program, minimum 16,500 to 17,500 pounds. And then in terms of scholarships, at the moment, for the last 2 years, we made a decision to sort of give a base scholarship to everyone who meets our entry requirement and gets an offer to study with us. So, for instance, starting with the undergraduate programs, we have the Hope Inspiring Future Scholarship, where every student who meets our entry requirement and get an offer for a bachelor's degree programs get an automatic £2,000 discount on the tuition fee. So instead of 15,225, their net fee becomes 13,225. If you pay your fees early, this time around we put in it at 1st September. We might review this soon, but until then, we do have an option where if you pay your fees early before you start your course, you can claim an extra £500 discount on your fees. So again, the 15,225, if you, for instance, pay early, you can deduct 2,500 from it. So essentially, you're paying about 12,800 in your first year for your bachelor's degree, with this sort of early payment discount added to your automatic scholarship. For the master's programs, we've split them into two groups. So for instance, we have the Hope Inspiring Excellence Scholarship, which we give £2,500 as an automatic discount on the programs that have been listed in the bracket here. So MBA, International Business Management, Project Management, Digital Marketing, Data Science, Public Health, and then Advanced Computer Science. These are programs that we charge tuition of £17,500. And for that reason, we give an automatic £2,500 off that tuition once you get an offer. So your net fees is £15,000. Then for the other courses that we have, which are not listed in this group, with the exception of PGCE, all those other courses cost £16,500 in terms of tuition. And whoever gets an offer, again, you get the automatic £2,000 scholarship. So your fees net-wise becomes £14,500. Again, for master students, if you pay early, you can also claim the early payment discount of £500. For Ghanaian students in particular, we do have the Great Scholarship, which is still open at the moment for September 2026 intake. I think the deadline for application is around end of May. So the Great Scholarship is a joint scholarship we have with the British Council, where currently for September this year, we have two scholarships for one student from Ghana and one student from Indonesia, where each of you or each one would get £10,000 of their tuition fees discounted. So anyone who gets this scholarship gets £10,000. So then they only pay for the remaining tuition. Like I said, it's still open until Friday, the 26th of May. So if you believe you will be that one lucky person from Ghana, then please, you may want to consider the scholarship. I want to add that it's very competitive. And so please look out and put in a very good application if that is something you are interested in. We are also on the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. So each year we do get two scholarships. This year we had it for disability studies and then a master's in public health, and that is open for everyone from the Commonwealth countries. Unfortunately, applications for 2026 closed around December 2025, and so it's not open for September intake. But if that is something you may want to consider for next year, then please be on the lookout. Each year, we do get quite about two scholarships open. And finally, for those who study with us for undergraduate and progress to do masters with us, we do give a special discount for them once they do study with us for their master's degree. Quickly, in terms of entry requirement, so if you're looking at undergraduate level, for those who have only WAEC or WASI, you need to have passed your WASI, at least 5 subjects with a minimum grade of C's, A1 to C6, or even in some cases they can take D7 as well. So once you have 5 subjects passes with those grades, you can qualify for the foundation entry. So you only need your passport, your WAEC or WASI results, and then an IELTS of 5.5 with a minimum of, I think, 5.5 or 5.0. So that is the entry requirement for International Foundation Program. If your qualification is higher than the WASI, so anything like diplomas, HND, A-levels, and BTech, any other additional qualification that you have on top of the WASI, you can come in directly into our undergraduate 3 years degree program. I've already touched on the IELTS. So the IELTS requirement for undergraduate programs is 6, minimum 5.5. If you have your WAEC or WASI completed within the last 7 years and your English grade was A1 to C6, we can accept that in place of IELTS. For master's programs, entry requirement, it's lower second class degree. So long as you've done an honors degree from any of the countries that you are from, and you have the equivalent of a lower second class degree, you qualify for any of our master's programs. Similarly, IELTS 6 overall with no scores less than 5.5. But again, if you also have the WASI English grade A1 to C6 within the last 7 years, you can also use that in place of the IELTS. Maybe one quick thing on employability. So, of course, as I mentioned earlier, studying abroad is quite expensive in terms of cost and even duration. And so sometimes you want to get the best out of it. So for us as a university, we've just made sure that we do have a careers team who are very much open and dedicated to support students once they are with us. So if you're looking for support in terms of preparing CV, preparing for your interview, how you'd write your job applications, they even also advertise for part-time opportunities, both on campus and off campus. And what I also want to mention here is the lifelong support. Whereas, or what that means is that even when students graduate from us, so let's say you come in to study for a degree or master's, you finish your course, you've returned home or wherever you're working, in case you find any job within 3 years after graduation, where you need the help of the employability team, they will be there to support you. So the help that we give to students does not end even when they leave our campus. We continue to support them even after graduation. And that is something key because not everyone will end up getting their job right after graduation. And the university is still there for you just to make sure that at least whatever extra support you will need, so long as you can connect, whether you're in the UK to come in person or you're overseas virtually, there will be help available for you as a Hope student. We do have a sports center on campus where there are a lot of facilities for both indoor and outdoor sort of sports activities. So as you could see, there are many teams, not just football, but you do have badminton. I've even seen for boxing. I've seen yoga. I've seen basketball. So whatever extra activity sport-wise that you think you will need to help you keep fit and keep going, we have it at Hope. The good thing with us is that we do have a lot of courses in sports management, sports rehabilitation, and physiotherapy areas. And for that reason, the facilities are state of the art to make sure that we have what it takes to teach those courses. But then what happens is that those facilities then get open to every student at Hope. So you don't even need to study those programs to have access to the facilities. And membership to the gym and all these facilities is just £30 the whole year for students. Whereas for many places in the UK, you pay £30 every month. Whereas for you as a Hope student, again, touching on the affordability side, you only pay £30 the entire year to access our facilities. One other thing is that we also have an outdoor center down in Wales, which is owned by the university. And we usually make it available for students to go out for sort of sightseeing, team building activities, which is kind of in the natural environment away from the busy city life, because sometimes studying and all that can be quite intense and sometimes a bit stressful. So we, especially during the vacations and holidays, we get students booking to go to this sort of outdoor space just to relax, have some quiet, and just recharge and come back to their studies. So we wanted to show that at least because the university cares about mental health and well-being, all these additional spaces and facilities are available just to support you as a Hope student. Many societies on campus, some of which based on sport, on faith, on lessons, some of them even based on nothing, just people's interest. And so there are a lot more societies and groups that you can join just to help you settle in. Because if you are spending a whole year, or for some of you, 3 or 4 years in the city and with us at the university, we want you to have some of these extra things that you can join once you are out of your classroom. In terms of applications, I know Student Connect will help take care of that for you. But essentially, just to mention that if you're looking at the foundation programs or the master's programs, them too, there is a direct application that comes to us. So foundation or master's, it's a direct application that you complete. It's just the undergraduate program that you need to submit your application through UCAS. Even with that, we are currently working on a new application system. So very soon, we might even be taking undergraduate applications also directly through to the university. Dates for you to be aware of. So currently, applications are still open. We are looking to close it a bit early than this, but we've not decided yet. So as we speak today, these are the key dates that you need to be aware of. If any of them changes, we would make Student Connect aware and they would also let you know. So applications are still open until the end of July. Deposit deadline is the 13th of August. Our CAS deadline is the 17th of August. We would want everyone to be on campus by the 14th of September. And then the very last date that anyone can join us is the 2nd of October 2026. So these are essential dates that if you're looking to join us this September, please take note of them. Payment information. So what you need to know, or what I'll stress here, is that where for you to be able to get a CAS, we ask for 50% of your fees as the deposit. So if you remember, I mentioned that for many of our courses, the net fees that you will pay is between 14,000 to say 15,000 pounds. So between 6 to 7,000 pounds, you pay that as your deposit. And then once you arrive, we give you up to 3 months to complete the other 50%. So you come in September, we would expect that by, let's say, December or January, you would have finished your other payment. Similar arrangement, we have it for our accommodation, and it's not here, but let me mention that we do have accommodation on our campus. So for all three campuses, we have student accommodation available, and is very, very, very affordable. So with just a budget of around 400 to 500 pounds a month, you can get a campus accommodation, which includes all your bills. So electricity, gas, water, and your Wi-Fi are all included within this 400 to 500 pounds a month, covering student accommodation. And I mentioned your payment goes through portal called Flywire or Convera. So any payment that you need to pay to us through as a university, these are the portals or the platforms that you make your payments through. And so that's it from myself. Thank you very much again for your attention. I've spoken quite a lot for over 30 minutes, so I will end it here and then we'll be happy to take your questions. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you for an elaborate presentation. Um, Before we ask the audience to ask us, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
That is
Um,
fine.
I think you were here with us in Ghana before you left us to the UK. And so, on a personal note, what do you think was your motivation to going into student recruitment or helping students to find um, higher education opportunities abroad?
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. I mean, that's a good one for me. So, like you mentioned, yes. So I studied in Ghana. I did my bachelor's degree from the University of Cape Coast. Actually, I studied educational psychology. So, kind of learning how to support students in terms of career and academic choices. And mainly, you do those courses to get into teaching in a secondary school. But then I was fortunate that after completing, I had the opportunity to do my national service with the British Council. And that is what opened me up to this sort of opportunity in terms of studying abroad. So I work with British Council and a few other companies in Ghana. And then in 2015, I came over to the UK to study for my master's, and I've been here since then till now. I've worked in two UK universities, and currently I lead international recruitment for Africa and Middle East within the Liverpool Hope University. And so my motivation basically is like I had the opportunity, and it's been kind of a blessing to me in terms of the trajectory of my career, because getting the chance to lead a department within a British university is rare for people who are not from this side of the world. I came in just as a student, like any other person on this platform may be looking out to do. But that opened me up to quite a lot more opportunities here, which has brought me to where I am today. And so it's from the academic and that career background, and seeing also again, I've been in this industry for quite some time. And like I said, I work within the university now. I work within private sector also before. Particularly at the moment, we are seeing some trend from Ghana where there are a lot of fraudulent stuff coming into the UK. And sometimes it's quite very, very sometimes, let me say, embarrassing, where you see a lot of restrictions being put on students from Ghana or West Africa in general about English, about IELTS, about bank statement, and this and that. And many a times I have used myself as an example within my universities. So I've worked in the University of Bolton for about 2 years, and I've worked at Liverpool Hope for 3 years now. And I tell them that, look, if you see me and you give me an opportunity to lead a department in the university, that is how any other Ghanaian prospect is. Okay. And that has been an inspiration to me. However, sometimes you see some other things coming in and they use that and show to me like, look, these are some of the things that we are seeing and they are not like you. And so my motivation is to make sure that, especially for everyone who desire to come to the UK, please do your research, connect with credible entities like Steady Connect, and know what you are coming up to. Do your research, understand the opportunities, and take advantage of what they present to you. So that, at least from what I've gone through, I want to also support someone else. So you don't fall victim to some of the deceptions and fraud, particularly coming through from the UK. And I can show you the way right from start to the end if you desire to study in the UK.
For somebody who might have had um, a couple of offers from other universities, including Liverpool Hope University, or somebody who is considering applying to other universities or universities in the UK, what would be your argument or the competitive edge that Liverpool Hope has over the other universities that they might be considering or already have an offer to?
Okay, thank you. Good. So, I will start first of all in terms of the cost element. If you look at our tuition fee and the general cost of living, for instance, I live in Manchester and I work in Liverpool. If you look at the tuition, for instance, my tuition fee in 2015, net or gross, was £14,500. And if you compare that from my institution to the fees that Liverpool Hope is charging today, it is like what my university charged me 10 years ago. So you can imagine how much they will charge today. So first of all, if cost is something that you are looking at, good quality education at an affordable price, Liverpool Hope will be one of your good choices, because hardly would you get bachelor's and master's at that price. Averagely £14,000 for a year master's or bachelor's degree. Aside the tuition cost, you are looking at living costs. So I believe either Helen or Rahel, if they are here sometime, we might also ask them to add their voice. Look, at the moment, if you want to look at the cost of rent in cities like London, Birmingham, and Manchester, where I live, averagely for a month, you're looking at about £800 to £1,000 for your rent alone. And if you remember, I did mention that £400 in Liverpool, you can get accommodation on campus. Okay, and so you are looking at half of the cost in terms of your rent. I again added that there is a university shuttle bus. So I would add myself again as an example. When I was studying my master's, where I lived and where I was going for classes, it was about 40 minutes on the road. You need a bus pass because the university didn't have any bus to take students. And each week you bought it at £30 a week. So you can imagine how much that is a month. Add to your rent. And so your cost goes up if you are in these other cities. And so again, cost-wise, if you're looking at affordable place in terms of both tuition and living expenses, then Liverpool Hope is a good choice. And maybe the second thing I would add on is the student support and the university size. I many a times when we are overseas, you don't see the realities of how UK universities are until you arrive. So the university I attended, I will mention for this audience sake, but we were 40,000 students on campus. So imagine you are one of 40,000 compared to being one of 5,000. So, for instance, our biggest class size at Hope is 20 students in a class. Some courses have students as low as 8. Now, the advantage that gives you is you have professors and people that you are working with where you are like 6 or 8, and you'll be with them for a year or sometimes even up to 3 years. They know you by name, and sometimes some of the professors know even the students' parents and their family, and they know literally everything. You get to build a relationship and get the support that you need because, mind you, you get to the UK and you realize that the way the education system runs and works is totally different from Ghana or Nigeria. And sometimes you need to be a place where you will get the support where every little question can be answered so then you can get yourself through. And that is why we have decided to keep the numbers that small. Okay. And then maybe the last thing I'll touch on is the city. Liverpool, it's an amazing city. Very multicultural, very vibrant and open. So you're not going to, because I've seen places or other universities where you arrive and it's like you are in a village somewhere. You want to be in a city that is open, international, so you would also have opportunities in terms of part-time work, in terms of getting to meet other nationalities and even British nationals. And Liverpool is one of the best places that you can have that. So I would say these three things give us the advantage compared to some other universities within the UK.
All right, thank you. Now, the unemployment rate in every country seems to be rising. And
Yeah.
so for somebody who is coming to the UK, who has hopes of, trying to get a part-time job,
Mm,
I think one, to augment their financial situation, and two, to also
mm.
get an industrial experience, how easy it is for them to be able to acquire that opportunity in Liverpool.
Okay, good question. So yes, I mean we can't promise that everybody will get a job once you arrive on the first day. Okay, but definitely once your student visa permits you to work the 20 hours a week, there are quite a lot of opportunities on campus and off campus in Liverpool. So starting on campus, for instance, there are a lot of part-time events that happens where we take students to help us. So, for instance, we have open days and applicant days where we have parents and prospective students coming on our campus who, like, when we do employ students to help us during those events. The other thing I can mention about is, for instance, within my department in international development, currently we have employed up to 12 current international students who are working with us as student ambassadors. And all that they do is we sit with them, and then, for instance, like you're doing this webinars, we do get prospective students who want to be interested to want to apply and study with us. So they ring them just to share their experiences and answer any questions that they need to know regarding life in Liverpool and the city and all that. And we pay them. And some of them have been doing it with me for the last 1 year. And because we want to attract international students, at least we have been a bit biased to that side. So we only take international students for those roles. So that is again another example to show that not looking even far, even within my own team, I employ international students. But on top of that, the city is also very vibrant. So there are a lot of jobs in shops, in restaurants, in companies that students do. So mostly you see students working as let's say shop attendants, working in bars, working with care companies. So you just have to make sure that you get a place where, and even sometimes students working at the stadiums. So for both Liverpool and Everton, they are in the Premier League, they're in Champions League and those, and sometimes they do employ students who work at part-time within these stadiums. So you just have to know your 20 hours and spread it out, whether in the weekend or weekdays, so then you don't exceed the hours that you have been given once you get the opportunity. And then during the vacation where university is closed, so let's say the Easter or Christmas or long vacation period, you can work full time up to 40 hours a week. So the employment team support. So as I mentioned earlier, they advertise part-time opportunities. So if there's any, they do share for students to know. So these are the sort of areas that are available. I would say they are there, but they are also equally competitive. So it's not like it's there for everyone to take, but we help in terms of the CV, in terms of the interview. So then once you get the opportunity, you can also take advantage, like you mentioned, to gain the work experience and also to at least make some income to supplement your living expense or living cost.
Okay. Holders who are looking to study undergraduate uh, in Liverpool University. Okay, you mentioned that with just the WASI, with a C6 or better in 5 subjects, they are able to enroll into the foundation program. For somebody who is listening, they might not know what a foundation program is and how different it is from the normal undergraduate structured program. And so if you could explain a bit, what is the foundation program and who is it meant for?
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I mean, so you see that, for instance, the educational structure for Ghana or Nigeria or many countries, as we know, is structured more toward the American system, where you do primary and secondary education up to 12 years. So if you check well, from let's say primary 1 until you do your WASI, if you check, you do up to a total of 12 years education, and then you go and do 4 years degree at the university. So by the time you complete university degree, you've done up to a total of 16 years of education. Now, the UK has a similar structure. So by the time you are done with the university, you would have also done up to 16 years of education. However, instead of 12 plus 4, as it is in Ghana or Nigeria or many of the countries that we know, the UK system is 13 plus 3. So in the end, you still get 16, but it's 13 plus 3. What that means is that if, for those of us or those of you may know, instead of WASI or WAEC, UK does the equivalent, which is called the A levels. Now, A levels, instead of finishing at 12 years in secondary school, they finish at what we call year 13. So like 13 years of secondary education. So they do their degree for 3 years instead of 4. So what it means that if you have WAEC or WASI only, you would have a year gap in terms of coming into the UK degree. And so the International Foundation Program is just a 1-year course to bridge that 12 years, so you get the equivalent of the A-level qualification in the UK and do your degree for 3 years. So you don't really necessarily have to confuse yourself with it if you don't get it, but it's all kind of, you still get your 4 years degree, but it's divided into 1 year of foundation and then 3 years of honors degree. And it's mainly purely for people whose qualification is WAEC or WASI only. So if you've moved on to do another qualification after WASI, you don't need the foundation year. But if you've just completed WASI, then you need that. For us at Liverpool Hope, we've made it a bit straightforward and seamless. So we'll, for instance, give what we call a joint CAS. So the offer you will get for your undergraduate program will be a 4 years offer. So on paper, it is straightforward 4 years. But within the dynamics of the UK system, it is 1 plus 3. But you don't even need to worry. You get a 4 years offer, you get a 4 years CAS. So you don't even have to apply for 2 visas. 1 visa will be enough to take you through. But just that within our own sort of system, we have to break it down to say that, oh, you've done the foundation year and now you've moved on to the 3 years. All of them will be done on our campus. From day one, you would have a Liverpool Hope University ID and a Liverpool Hope University badge, and you study on our campus. So you won't even see any difference between these two.
A transcript of your high school, your 3-year high school exams. Is it something that you do, or it is exempted from the documents that are required for admission?
Sorry, I missed the earlier part. So if you can
Okay,
repeat.
but I asked that some other education in destinations or universities might ask for your 3 years of high school transcript. Is it something that you require, or you just need the way for?
The final WASI grades are okay, technically. So once you have your final WASI result, just send that. If we need any extra, then we will request for it. But at the start, the WASI passport and IELTS should be enough to get you the offer.
Okay. You mentioned IELTS. You did need an IELTS.
For foundation, yes, IELTS is mandatory because at foundation level, UKVI sets the requirements in terms of English proficiency. So for international foundation, yes. But then for direct year one and masters, the university decides, and that is where we can give the exemption based on the WAEC English grade.
All right. Let's move to qualifications such as HND and diploma. And usually some schools would admit students for pre-master's programs. Okay. Is it something that is available at Liverpool Hope, or you'd have to start from year one?
Good question. So yes, at the moment, we have just commenced our pre-master's programs, and we do have streams in business, computing, and humanities. So for anyone with HND or even a third class honors degree, we can take them through the pre-master's route. So they don't need to go and start from year one to do another undergraduate degree. They can come straight onto the pre-master's program.
Right. So how long is this pre-master's?
It's 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
So after the 6 months, then they'll move to the real master's program.
Exactly. So they also get an 18 months offer for masters. So it's called extended masters. So the typical masters is 12 months, but we just call it extended masters. So they get 18 months offer, 18 months class. So again, it's also a joint class that they don't need to even transition from the pre-masters to the main masters.
If somebody has a diploma in a particular field, then they would want to divert into another field. All right. Do they have to start from year one undergraduate, or they can just do a pre-master to be able to satisfy that condition of trying to migrate?
Good question. It comes down to the subjects case by case. For general, for instance, business, education, humanities, it's sometimes easy to make this transition. But then there are some technical subjects like, let's say, robotics or social work sometimes, some of those courses, or even PGCE, where it will require some sort of background knowledge in the subject area. So I would say it's case by case. It's not a no directly. So anyone who is in that situation, so long as you get the details and we have a discussion, I can be able to confirm, but it is possible, but not for every course. No, I've lost you. I can't hear you. Sorry, Andrew.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right. So I'm saying that now let's move on to the those with bachelor's degree qualifications. Okay. And looking to study for masters. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you bear with me that now the qualification in trend now is the Masters of Research program. For reasons that we both know. At Liverpool Hope, are there any Emirates programs? If you have them, if you can just mention that.
At the moment, the MRES program that we have are currently going through validation. So I would say, as at this moment, because they've not been published, you would see them on our website, all right. But I will leave it for you to support the students with once they become officially published for recruitment. I'm saying that because last year we had some of them that we had students applying for, and they even paid deposit. But then in the end, when we got to September 2025, unfortunately, there were 2 or 3 of them. The program didn't run, and the people were quite disappointed because they had made plans with family and all that. So what I can answer directly to is that if we officially confirm them, yes, it allows people to travel with dependents, but then that decision ultimately lies with the UKVI. And so I would wait for that final confirmation to come. We will share it with you, Student Connect, and then whoever is interested and have your details, you can also send that across to them.
So it means for somebody looking to apply for them, University for this September, Emirates is a tentative program for now.
At the moment, yes. But we've not closed applications yet. So until July, we might maybe even by end of this month, we will make a decision and it will be out for anyone to apply.
All right. Somebody wants to know. You mentioned that there was a £2,000 scholarship for bachelor degree. Is it just for first year or the 3 consecutive years?
Okay, so good question. It's mainly just for the first year, but then what happens is from the first year to the second year, or second year to the third year, if anyone maintains at least 60% or better in their course, they will get a £1,000 discount each year as they progress. So the 2,000 is just for the first year, but then the subsequent years, 1,000 based on maintaining at least 60% or higher on your course.
Okay, thank you very much. You mentioned fees. I think you made an argument that your fees are one of the best in the industry, which I concur. What about deposits? Okay, you mentioned, I think there are some schools that have imposed stricter restrictions or stricter deposits for students coming from this region due to the reasons that you have already said. So with Liverpool, what is the deposit like, and what are the payment plans that are available after the person has paid the deposit?
Okay, so at the moment, we have not changed our deposit restriction for West Africa. As you said, things are changing within the sector. And so currently we ask for 50% of the net fees as deposits. So if your net fees is 14,000, we ask for 7,000 as deposit. If your net fees is 14 and a half, 7,250. And if it's 15,000, 7,500. Sometimes people feel it's on the high side. Yes, we agree. But what I want to add on is sometimes what people don't know or realize is what happens when they get to the UK. So for instance, a university may be charging you £20,000 and say pay 1,000 as the deposit. When you arrive, you have £19,000 to pay. And many a times people think that they can come and work in the UK to pay for their fees and expenses, which most of the times doesn't work that way. And so what we encourage, and from my own experience and being working in the UK for the last 11 years, what I want to touch on here is that as much of the fee that you can pay before you arrive, the better for you. Because especially for the master's programs, 1 year comes very quick. And for most of the times when you arrive and you own the university, there are a lot of restrictions that are put on you, which many a times get students depressed and add to so much stress, because already academic work at times can be very intense. And then when you owe the university, you are in debt, and now you are being blocked. You can't go to class. Sometimes you can't access your online sessions. And sometimes even there are situations where debt collecting agencies are chasing some students for their money. And so you can imagine you yourself trying to find something to at least find accommodation or just settle a few things here and there. And there is an agency chasing you for debt. And so that is why we've upped the deposit a bit. So then when you come here, you only have 6,000 or 7,000 to pay. That is much better than 19,000. So then even if you get something to do and you still get your support from home, you can be able to settle your remaining fees within the shortest possible time. So the other payment option we give is that we give you up to 3 months after arrival to finish up your payment. You don't have, or it's not mandatory for you to pay any extra on arrival or at registration. I know for many other universities, they will require some additional ones once you come and register. We have noted from our own data that most of the times people arrive and they don't have any money to pay extra. And sometimes you can also tell them not to register. And so we've made it flexible that pay the 50%, come register. If you don't have any even to pay a registration, you go ahead, we can let you register and continue or start with your classes. Then we give you up to 3 months to complete the payment. Now, sometimes people set it up like, okay, then whatever is left, I want it spread for 3 installments. So maybe every month, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, I'll finish up. Sometimes some people say, okay, wait, maybe by the end of the period, I'll get one lump sum and pay it off. Others, maybe once they arrive at registration, they already have the money, then they pay it outright. So they know that they don't owe the university, and at least they have their peace of mind to study. So in terms of the payment plan after arrival, we've made it that bit flexible. So you work it based on what suits you. But we would expect that by the time the 3 months ends, at least you would have completed the outstanding payment.
All right. Thank you. Some of our audience came in late, and so somebody wants to know if there is a tuition discount for master's programs. I know you mentioned that about 3,000. Somebody wants to know as well. So if you can
Yeah, so for the masters, I mentioned that the tuition fee is from 16,500 to 17,500. If your tuition is 16,500, you get an automatic discount of £2,000 once you have a minimum of a lower second class degree. If your tuition is 17,500, you get an automatic discount of £2,500. So again, your net is 15,000. If you pay early, you have the early payment discount of £500, which you can claim. And I also mentioned that we are on the Great Scholarship as well as also the Commonwealth Scholarship. And maybe even if you get Fund or Government of Ghana or any of these other external funding scholarships, we also accept them for you to study with us.
Okay, thank you very much. To our next question, please, those watching us, if you have any question, you can put them in the chat box so that I'll ask to respond. Okay. I want to ask you, Paul. You mentioned that for those who have WASI and want to read masters, it can be taken in place of the IELTS. For how long should the WASI be to be accepted? Because I know that some schools would say that if it's older than 10 years, they are not taking it. So in your case, or for your institution, how are the arrangements for WASI as a replacement for the IELTS?
Currently, our policy is within the last 7 years. So if you're looking at September 2026, then it should have been those coming from 2019. However, my office has sent a request for that to be extended to 10 years. So we also are looking at the 10 years duration. So I'm hoping that will come up soon for people who are older. So at the moment, as we speak, it's 7 years, but there's a chance that that can go up to 10 years.
With somebody who asks you that is, since the request is not yet granted, are they should they apply and prove that they are accepted, or should they ignore or avoid you?
They can apply. They can apply and get the conditional offer. We've done quite a lot of other alternative options that, for instance, there are some alternative to IELTS, which sometimes we have recommended, which people can do from home, quite affordable. You can do it in the comfort of your home. Results come out within 3-4 days, and then we can use them in place of IELTS. There have been instances where we've had students who genuinely have paid deposits and they just want to come to Liverpool Hope, and we have been able to even give them test vouchers that they have used to take some of these tests for free to come to us. So there are quite a number of options and ways around it. And so I would say if genuinely they want to come, let them go ahead, meet the requirement, get the offer, and then we can look at these sort of smaller situations. We would always have a solution around these things.
For somebody currently in their final year in university, looking to study for their master's with you or considering your university, would they have to complete, or can they submit a what do you call it, a not completed transcript, and hope that they are going to get an offer in wait of their graduation period?
Yeah, I mean, we can give conditional offer even without any documents. So long as they tell us that on the application form that I am studying from Ghana, Nigeria, or any of these countries in university ABC that we know, and I'm hoping to graduate with a lower upper first class, we can give a conditional offer and then wait for those other documents to finally come in to confirm on that. So it's not a problem at all. They can get the offer now with whatever result or information that they have.
All right. I want to take you back to the alternative to the IELTS. Okay, you mentioned that sometimes you had given students vouchers to take the test for free. Could you go through at least 2 options or 2 alternatives that you accept instead of the IELTS?
Okay, so we do accept the TOEFL internet-based test.
Okay.
We do accept the Oxford ELLT test. We do accept the KITE, that's Kaplan English test.
Right.
And then we do also accept for Pearson.
All right. About Duolingo, how many people you accept Duolingo?
We're still talking to Duolingo. We've not completed the discussions yet, but it's also on our radar.
Okay. So for somebody who has Duolingo already, they cannot submit it. That is what you're saying.
They can submit it, but we will still have to finish the discussion and firm things up before we will say yes, we accept it.
Okay. I don't know whether the audience would have any questions to ask. Please, if you are,
I think I can see a question about the Commonwealth Scholarship. I don't know if you can read. I'm not able to read the full one.
All right.
Because
is it possible to get scholarship? And I'll say yes. Yes.
No, I'll see. It says, please, about the Commonwealth Scholarship. Has the university already selected their nominees? Have you seen that question?
Oh, yeah.
I think from Rosie Favor, and that the answer to that is yes. We've already submitted our nominations for 2026 to the Commonwealth Secretariat. So yes, that's a yes. But if you're looking at that,
so it means somebody who is now hoping to apply.
applications closed in December 2025.
For 2026 September intake.
For 2026 entry, yes.
Okay. So for somebody who is
that is how
banking
it works. So maybe just a bit of information for those that are around. Application period is only open for just 1 month between November and December each year for the next year. So if you're thinking of September 2027 intake, applications will open between November and December 2026. And so that is the time that they would apply. And then between January to March, we as universities would then get the details to screen, shortlist, and then submit our nominations to the Commonwealth Secretariat.
One more question. Once you're doing your nominees, what are the, what do you call it? What is the thing that you look out for in a student's application? Is it just their grades? Is it the strength of their SOP? Is it what they have done? All right. So what sets a winner apart from other nominees?
Is it for the scholarship or for admission?
No, for the scholarship.
Okay.
So for the nominees that you take from those who have applied.
Oh, you mean for the Commonwealth Scholarship?
Perfect, yes.
Okay, I mean, that's fine. It's spelled out clearly on our website and also on the Commonwealth Scholarship website. If Helen was here, I don't know if you're able to see in the audience anyone, Helen Abodape. She did win the Commonwealth Scholarship, so maybe she could have been a better person to answer that for me. But I'm happy to touch on if she's there and you can get her
Helen,
in. She could.
I see that a particular Helen joins and exits. I don't know whether it's a network or something.
Oh, okay, that is fine, but I'm happy to touch on if she's not here. So mainly the academic background is number one. So essentially, at least you need to have at least a first class on or a second class upper degree to be eligible to for consideration. And I think there are a number of different other criteria that the scholarship looks for. So not just the academic merit, but they also want to look at your previous sort of volunteering and other activities that you've done that are supported other courses that the scholarship is interested in. And then also your future prospects. Because the whole idea of the Commonwealth Scholarship, as you may be aware, all the scholars, the idea of gaining the scholarship is to come to the UK, gain the knowledge and experience, and go back to your country and help with its development. So all the scholars are mandated to return back to their country once they finish. So you should be someone who knows maybe the areas that your country has developmental needs, and you have the expertise and the skill set that once you return, you'll be able to support in those development needs. So it's not just about for someone who wants to just come and study in the UK and remain in the UK. If that is your idea, then you'll miss out in the first place. So it has quite a lot of sort of different things that you'll be asked to provide answers to, which when they put it all together, it comes down to strong academic background, strong volunteering and work experience, and then also very, very good prospects going into the future into activities and projects that would really impact the development of your country. Those are the essential things that they look for in terms of nominations.
Does it mean then that there's a bit of discrimination in terms of who gets the scholarship or the discipline that you are coming from that gets the scholarship and who doesn't? Because if you are, if it's development centered, then it means that it favors some particular kind of students and not others.
Okay, I mean, that is not in our hands, to be honest. So the subject areas are set by the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission. So they determine that these are the broad areas of development needs, because don't forget, they are picking students from the Commonwealth countries and they are looking at the needs of these nations and then getting people with skills and knowledge to go and meet those needs. The developmental needs, for instance, let me say, we had for the last 3-4 years, one of our courses that we used to get the scholarship for was our master's in robotics engineering. Ideally, you would say that robotics is not development related because that is a science and engineering program. But then they had worked out such that for people who have the robotics or like AI knowledge, they can be able to impact different sectors, because they are looking at technology development in the developing world as one of those developmental needs of these nations. So even though the subject may seem as if it's not development related, but there is a connection. So for instance, currently the subjects that what they do is they give us as universities, they give us the broader areas that we want, say, AI in, let's say, agriculture, or let's say we want public health area. We want that, we want that. Then we as universities, we submit our programs that we think that meet those subject areas. Then they determine which ones they approve. So for instance, for September 25, we submitted 5 subjects and they approved only 2. That is Masters in Public Health and then Masters in Disability Studies. So it's not like we as a university are trying to be biased. However, the commission, together with the Commonwealth countries, decide what are the developmental needs that they need human resource development to be able to come and help.
No, I don't have any more questions. So if you don't have, if do you have anything more to add? Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
yes. Do you have any more information to add? If you don't,
No, I mean, if that's the end, I can add my final remarks. Ellen, I just mentioned that she was there, but she had been muted. So I don't know if, again, you can find her within, maybe before I do my final remarks. Can you find her? Hello,
okay,
Helen,
I
are you
think
there?
we have Helen has to unmute herself, yes, and put on her
Helen, can
camera.
you unmute and see if you can come through?
Yeah, I can unmute now.
Great. Yeah, so we give the last one to you since everyone wants this Commonwealth scholarship. So anything on the scholarship and maybe generally your experience as a Hope student or being in the UK for the last 6-7 months.
um,
Helen, are you there?
And I think Helen is facing some difficulty. So I think
Okay,
whilst you're waiting
that's
for Helen, or you can actually
yeah. Okay. So I mean, thank
bless
you
you.
very much, Andrew. Thank you very much, Michelin. Thank you so much to the team for the invite and the opportunity to be here. I believe we've covered quite a lot today. For anyone interested in studying in the UK, again, I want to reiterate that Liverpool Hope University will be one of the good options for you in terms of our course choices, in terms of
hello.
affordability, in terms of our location, and then support that we have for international students. We do have career-oriented programs, some of which are professionally accredited, which even ends up giving you your professional accreditation by the time you finish your degree or master's. So as you seek for your choices, please look out into our courses. If you have any questions or you need any help regarding the applications, Student Connect are there to help you. Get in touch with them. They'll reach out to us, and together we'll be able to help you go through the process. So thank you for your time. Looking forward to seeing some of you in Liverpool in September. Since you can see me once you see me around, come over. Let's have a word and let's make sure you get to enjoy your studies and your life in the UK.
Okay. So thank you all for joining us today. For those of you who are interested in exploring Liverpool as your study destination, you can reach out to us. The numbers are on your screen. You can pick any of them and then ring us, and we are going to give you a warm welcome and walk you through all the process documentation that you need and help you relish your dreams to study in the UK. If you are in Accra and you want to visit us, we are located at the ARS Runabout in East Legon. ARS Runabout in East Legon. We are not too far from the AH Hotel or UPSA University. We are not too far from there. And we are also on the map. So if you are having any difficulty locating us, you can just locate us on the map and it will bring you here directly. So thank you very much for your time with us, and it has been a pleasure being with you. Till we meet again next time, bye. And Paul, thank you for your insightful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and bye-bye.